Hi, James Taylor again. Just continuing with this sort of ramble through the stacks here. It's excellent to do this. I want to point out a couple of albums that were really important to me coming up. This is perhaps if you were looking for the quintessential Miles Davis, you wouldn't choose Sketches of Spain. It's an orchestral album. It's a beautiful, atmospheric, deep. The arrangements are written down and are very solid. Are very it's written in stone. But what Miles plays on top of it is amazingly free. An excellent fusion of two worlds, an orchestral arrangement and Miles Davis playing with it, a beautiful thing. And while we're in the world of shall we say, accessible jazz, not smooth jazz, but accessible jazz, I would also recommend this other well-known record. This was recorded in 1963 in a three-day period in New York City. Jobim and Gilberto were early proponents, have to be counted among the people who invented bossa nova. Astrid Gilberto sings Girl from Ipanema on this thing, which was such a cool thing to hear and a wonderful that it was a hit. But it brought Brazilian music to America in a major way, made it the center of musical attention for a while, and it definitely turned me on to Brazilian music. So there we go. Ralph Vaughan Williams' Fantasia on Greensleeves. It's got Fantasia on Greensleeves, The Lark Ascending, and some his English folk song suite. These are basically the center of my musical education, and I'd have to say that this was an important album for me. Let's walk over here too, and because I wanted to put in a plug for my own flesh and blood. My son Ben has made, I believe, an excellent record in this. He's a handsome lad, but he won't put his picture on an album cover, so we have this instead. But The Legend of Kung Folk Part 1, The Killing Bite, has a passage of songs on it for me between Dangerous Girl, Something for Nothing, Wilderness, and You're the One for Me. Those four songs, I can't get them out of my head. And Ben has been forming as a musician himself. Obviously, he picked up a lot from me and from his mom, but he has his own sound, and he's really come into focus. He's produced a number of albums for himself and other people, and now has finally really come into focus with this thing. A beautiful job, and I'm proud of him for doing it. And of course, all this other stuff. I'm not a great reader, but I've been hugely impacted by some things that I've read. About 15 years ago, maybe 20 years ago now, someone gave me a copy of a Patrick O'Brien book called Master and Commander. And it is part of a series that eventually was to be 20 books in all, written by Patrick O'Brien and featuring Stephen Maturin and Captain Aubrey. They take place during the Napoleonic Wars in the English in the British Navy, and they are excellent reads, and they're also very informative. I'm a sailor, and I love spending time in boats, and these will just pick you up and sweep you away, and it's a lot. It's a long series, 20 books, so there's plenty here, and if you love them, it's like you've been lit on fire, and if you don't, then you just drop it halfway through the first one and carry on somewhere else. But the first is Captain and Commander, followed by the book Post Captain, and then the HMS Surprise, and on down the line. Great books. Ripping Yarns of the Sea, Smashing Tales, great. I went to New York when I was 18 years old and joined a rock and roll band. And I skipped college. And I didn't get a chance to read early on a lot of these classic books that later were revealed to me and recommended. And this thing just it just hit me so hard. This is Anna Karenina by Leo Tolstoy, and it is the language is so beautiful, and it's so of course War and Peace is also fantastic and overwhelmingly beautiful. I can't imagine reading it in translation and being hit so hard by it and so moved by it. It's hard for me to imagine what it would be like if I were a native Russian speaker and could actually read it in the original. It really stretches the imagination to think that something so beautiful is actually a translation and is actually somewhere else in its native tongue. And the other one also a translation from German, although some of it is in French, is Thomas Mann's The Magic Mountain. And it has in it, it's the story of a young man in a tuberculosis recovery hospital in the Alps in Switzerland, or perhaps in Germany, I'm not sure where, but it follows his experience, and it contains an epiphany, describes a moment of real epiphany, and it really blew me away. Thanks for walking around a little bit with me and letting me carry on a little bit about some of my picks, records and books that have meant so much to me. It's incredible to be in this building with all these books and records. It's the wealth of civilization, human civilization, right here. And so I hope you try some of these ones I suggested, and I hope I maybe get a chance to find out about some of your favorites. Check them out too.